Have you ever watched the person you love become a stranger right before your eyes? The screen of her phone cast a pale blue glow on her face in the 2 a.m. darkness of our Chicago bedroom. She was smiling. Not the warm, familiar smile she saved for me, but a small, secret smirk. I shifted, the mattress springs groaning, and instantly, the phone was flipped face down on the nightstand, the light extinguished. "Just scrolling," she'd murmur, already turning her back to me. It was the third time that week. That little flip of the wrist, that sudden shield, was more damning than any confession. I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that my life was a carefully constructed lie, and I was the only one who didn't have the script. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. It started subtly. Her phone, once a shared piece of our lives, became a fortress. Passwords were changed for security reasons. Calls were taken in the other room. When I'd walk in, she'd end them with a clipped, "I'll call you back," her voice a register too high. We'd been together for 10 years, married for 7. I knew her rhythms, the cadence of her speech, the way she'd absent-mindedly traced the rim of her coffee cup. Now, a new rhythm had taken over, one I couldn't decipher. She was a ghost in her own home, her body present but her mind miles away, somewhere down the shimmering data stream of her protected phone. The first piece of concrete evidence wasn't a text, but a receipt. It was tucked into the pocket of her coat, a flimsy piece of thermal paper from a place called the Violet Hour, a cocktail lounge in Wicker Park. It was dated from a Tuesday night when she was supposedly at a late-night work dinner in the Loop. The charge was for 2 Juliet and Romeo cocktails. The name felt like a cruel joke. I stood in our foyer, the city lights of downtown Chicago twinkling through the window, and felt the first real crack in my foundation. It wasn't just a suspicion anymore. It was a place, a time, a drink. It was real. When I confronted her, the woman I loved vanished, replaced by a cold, manipulative stranger. "Are you checking my pockets now, David?" she asked, her voice dripping with disdain. Oh, she didn't deny it. She deflected, twisted it, made me the villain. I was insecure. I was controlling. I was suffocating her. She was a master of gaslighting, turning my valid concerns into proof of my own inadequacy. They felt untouchable. Her and this phantom lover, laughing at me from their dimly lit booth at the Violet Hour, toasting with their poetically named cocktails. She started staying out later, her excuses becoming flimsier, almost daring me to question them. She knew she had me trapped in the cage of our shared history, and she was rattling the bars with sadistic glee. The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday. She'd said she was visiting her sister in Evanston. I had a gut feeling, a gnawing dread that had become my constant companion. I called her sister. She was friendly, confused. She hadn't heard from Sarah all week. I hung up the phone, and the silence in our apartment on Lakeshore Drive was deafening. The carefully built dam inside me shattered. I sank to the floor, the plush rug doing nothing to soften the blow, and I wept. Not loud, racking sobs, but the quiet, hopeless tears of a man who has lost everything and doesn't even know why. The humiliation was a physical weight, pressing down on my chest, stealing the air from my lungs. That night, something inside me shifted. The grief didn't disappear, but it crystallized. It turned from a formless agony into a sharp, cold diamond of purpose. My tears dried, and in their place, a chilling calm settled over me. She thought I was a fool. He thought he was winning. They were both about to learn how wrong they were. The next morning, I bought a burner phone and a voice-activated recorder the size of a cufflink. I wasn't just going to leave her. I was going to dismantle her life, piece by piece, with the same cold precision she had used to dismantle mine. I became a ghost, just as she had been. I was the loving, slightly clueless husband. I made her dinner. I asked about her day. All the while, I was a detective in my own life. The voice recorder went into her car, tucked under the passenger seat. The things I heard, whispered sweet nothings, promises of a future, and worst of all, their laughter. They laughed about me, about my predictability. His name was Mark. He was a partner at her law firm, smug, arrogant, with a voice that oozed entitlement. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop, who operated out of a dusty office in River North. He got me photos. Photos of them kissing outside a boutique hotel in the Gold Coast, their hands intertwined. He got me financial records. A joint savings account they'd opened 3 months prior. They weren't just having an affair. They were building a new life on the ashes of mine. The trap was set. Sarah's parents were celebrating their 40th anniversary with a huge party at the Drake Hotel. Her entire family, her colleagues, everyone who mattered in her carefully curated world would be there. It was perfect. A week before the party, I met with my lawyer. We drew up the divorce papers, citing the infidelity clause in our prenup. The clause she had insisted on, ironically. It meant she would walk away with nothing. Absolutely nothing. The photos, the audio files, the bank statements, a neat little package of destruction. The night of the party, I played my part. I was the doting husband, smiling, shaking hands. Sarah was radiant, the queen of her court, Mark hovering nearby like a loyal subject. Her father, a man I had respected for a decade, stood up to give a toast. He spoke of love, of commitment, of building a life on trust. As he finished, I walked to the podium. I could feel Sarah's eyes on me, a flicker of confusion. I smiled at her. A real smile for the first time in months. I'd like to add to that, I began, my voice steady. I've learned so much about trust and commitment from my wife, Sarah. I paused, letting the silence hang in the air. Then I looked directly at her, and from her partner, Mark. A collective gasp went through the room. I projected the first photo onto the large screen behind Mitha. Kiss. Then the next. Then I played the audio, their voices filling the grand ballroom, their laughter echoing off the crystal chandeliers. The fallout was biblical. Her father's face was a mask of fury and shame. Her mother was sobbing. Mark was fired the next day. His wife, a woman I had unknowingly provided with her own mountain of evidence, filed for divorce immediately. But Sarah? Sarah was the epicenter of the destruction. She was a pariah. Her family disowned her. Her friends vanished. The divorce was swift and brutal. The prenup held. She was left with her clothes and a mountain of legal debt. I sold the apartment, the furniture, everything. I erased every trace of her. Sometimes late at night I walk down the street where the violet hour is. I never go in. I just look at the warm light spilling onto the pavement on West Division Street. I think about those two Juliet and Romeo cocktails and the lie they represented. I didn't get my old life back. That man is gone forever. But I took away theirs. I took away their stolen moments, their secret smiles, and their shared laughter, and left them with only the cold, silent truth of what they did. It's quiet now, in my new life, and the silence is my victory. The end.